Good morning, everybody. Wanted to take a minute and thank everybody that purchased a pizza kit last week. We got some really great feedback, and we're going to do that again. This week, we wanted to do something a little sweet. We took two of my favorite ingredients, whiskey and cake, and combined them together. So we're going to take you back in the kitchen and show you what to do with everything inside your take and bake whiskey kit for this weekend. Thank you. Hope you enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome to the kitchen. We're going to show you all the ingredients and what to do them this week for your whiskey cake. I can't remember where I saw this recipe, but it was just recently over St. Patrick's Day. It was somewhere about what to do with leftover Irish whiskey that you might have left over from St. Patrick's Day. And I thought it was a really simple recipe to do at home. So this week, what you're going to get is you're going to get a disposable bun pan. In the recipe we gave you, we mentioned greasing and lightly flouring the bun pan. For these disposable pans, that's not necessary. That will only be in the future if you have an aluminum bun pan that you want to make the recipe again in your house. You're going to get instant vanilla pudding, vanilla cake mix, 4 whole eggs, whole milk, vegetable oil, and then you're going to get 1 sealed bottle of Irish whiskey. You're going to need, for this recipe, you're going to be making the whiskey in 2 steps of the recipe. There's going to be 1 ounce of whiskey in the cake batter, and that you can easily measure from a shot glass. A shot glass is about 1.5 ounce, so you're just going to want 1 ounce in the batter. And then later, after the cake is baked, we're going to show you a whiskey glaze with a half cup more of the whiskey that you're going to take home, 1 stick of butter, and some sugar that we're going to pour over the cake while it's still warm. It's a really simple recipe. We're just going to show you a couple tricks that make it a little easier. When making this kind of cake in a stand mixer, I always like to add the dry ingredients first and then the wet ingredients to it at the end. So what I'm going to do in a separate bowl, I'm going to mix the eggs. So all your wet ingredients in the bowl separately. The whole milk. Vegetable oil, and then the 1 ounce of whiskey. And then you're going to mix that all together. And just so sometimes if you have the wet ingredients first, sometimes you get a little bit of the flour on the bottom and it sticks. I just like to have this to be able to add it to the dry all at once. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sift together your dry ingredients. That's just to make sure there's no lumps and that no lumps will form in the cake. If we're going to use, this is a kitchen tabby here, but if you didn't have this at home, what you could do is if you had a pasta strainer or some fine mesh sieve, just to kind of push all the ingredients through this onto a piece of parchment paper, just to make sure, like I said, there are no lumps and that all the dry ingredients get incorporated together. And then this is 1 package of instant vanilla pudding. And make sure that it's not sugar-free. And then what you want to do is just sift those ingredients together. And just push the right angles. That's it. And then if you do that onto a piece of parchment paper, it just makes it easy to kind of pick up all the dry. And then easily slide them into your mixer. And we have the beater attachment. Just going to get that mixing slowly, and then we're going to add all our wet ingredients all at once. And then we're just going to mix that really gently until it all comes together. And then we're going to allow it to sit for 5 minutes. That kind of allows the flour to absorb the moisture. It allows the instant pudding to kind of rehydrate. So let it come together like this. And then we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes and then mix it again on low for about 4 to 5 minutes. All you're going to do is add the total amount of the cake mix to your pan. You're going to bake it on a cookie sheet or your pizza pan from last week. And you're going to place it in a 350 degree oven for about 55 minutes. We included one of these skewers so you'll be able to test the center of the cake, and we'll show you later how to do that when the cake is ready. All right, welcome back, everybody. Our cake came out of the oven. This cake baked exactly the 55 minutes that we said in the recipe. A couple things I wanted to remind you of is one, always when you remove the cake from the oven, always have a rack on the bottom just to prevent moisture from forming on the bottom of the cake. And then, like I told you earlier, we included in the kit a large skewer. That'll allow you to just check the inside of the cake to make sure that it's done after the 55 minutes. Make sure that it comes out clean. And then the other part of the recipe, this is the whiskey that is included in your kit. But this is the whiskey sauce that we're going to pour over the top of the cake. In your kit, there's going to be sugar, 1 stick of butter, and more whiskey to make this sauce. You're going to boil everything on the stove, trying to avoid anything from flaming up. And then while the cake is still hot, take the opposite side of the skewer and just go ahead and make holes all throughout the cake while the cake is still warm. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and pour the butter, sugar, whiskey mixture right over the cake while it's still hot. And you're going to allow it to sit over the cake for about another half an hour before you try to remove it. Right. Allowing that to sit, the cake is going to go and absorb all that mixture. And then what you're going to do is this disposable cake pan that's on the outside, after it sets and the cake absorbs all the whiskey, you can go ahead and cut the paper from around and it just peels off. You're going to garnish with just some simple powdered sugar. And this is a great dessert, either served with vanilla ice cream or some whipped cream, or even in the morning with a cup of coffee. I hope everybody enjoys this recipe and everybody's staying safe. Look forward to seeing you back at the club soon. Thank you.